Good morning, and good morning, SUNY New Paltz. Yeah, what a difference a year makes. Today, I have a sense and a familiarity with this place that was not available to me last year. Now, having experienced one full year in the company of outstanding colleagues, students, and a community collaborator set that would envy any president, I understand in new ways the transformative power and potential of this place we all have in common. I'm very pleased to say that Donovan and I have both felt welcome and enlivened in our first year as Hawks. Today, Today, I have the opportunity to share reflections on the past year, elements of the opportunities and challenges, tailwinds and headwinds facing us in higher education, our today, and I would like to set before you some key goals and directions for SUNY New Paltz in our near and not too distant future. Before I go into more content specificity, let me take this opportunity to do something that I think is really important for me to do at this point, and that is to say thank you in a particular way, and to demonstrate my deep appreciation for all that you've done to contribute to the success of this first year. Let me begin by acknowledging members of the College Council and SUNY New Paltz Foundation Board. I see several members here, but if you would just wave your hands or stand if you're College Council or SUNY New Paltz Board so that others in the audience know who you are. Please thank them. I personally want to thank you for your gifts that you give in time, treasure, and talent. And I want to do a very special welcome and shout out to my fellow birth sign compadre, Tama Wiegand. Tama. What is a university without its teaching faculty in all ranks, full and part-time? To these colleagues who give so much of themselves in designing and facilitating learning and creative spaces that bring forward the core academic mission, I say thank you. Please let me lead a very special thank you for your time, talents, and treasures. To our 5 academic deans, our graduate program dean, and our library dean, the 5 deans, I often call them the dancing deans. Where are you? All of you? Oh, let me see the deans. I want to acknowledge your special gifts of insight, leadership, and stewardship that are vital to our core enterprise. And now, very broadly, to my colleagues who make this university a 24/7, 365-day-a-year place that facilitates our core mission, provides support and assistance to student, faculty, and staff, and always make us look good, let me say thank you. Please allow me to thank all of you for your work in facilities, UPD, student affairs, enrollment management, financial services, food services, health services, Res Life, maintenance, human resources. I thank you for all you do each and every day. To our alumni here today and community members and friends joining us, let me thank you for your gifts of time, treasure, and talent, for your willingness to be guides for me during this year, lending your counsel, your encouragement, support, wisdom, humor, and grit. I thank you for all you've brought to this. And not to be put at the bottom, but because I only have so much time and thank yous can get dry after a while, I want the members of the President's Cabinet and the President's Office to be thanked. I'm certain Donovan might affirm I'm not always the easiest person to work with. Don't ask him, though. So I do thank you for your leniency and support this year. Shelley, Erica, Tehena, Michelle, Stella, Stephanie, Kathy, Lisa, and Rich. Sounds like a musical group. And now I get to add one of our newest members, Provost Bill McClure. I thank you for all that you bring to this enterprise and support. I hope I haven't left anybody out, but it's possible that I did. And if I did, please attribute it to the head and not the heart. In the spirit of gratefulness, let me acknowledge that the land we are on today is the traditional territory of the Munsee, Esopus, and Lenape tribes. This land also manifests the hopes, challenges, and traumas of enslaved African ancestors and European settlers. In the spirit of never forgetting our true history, we become activated to stay on paths to do more and make greater this place we share, our SUNY New Paltz. In many ways today, this marks the official beginning of a new academic year. In the cycle of Academy, we welcome our new colleagues and students. We'll have a chance to do that more formally in September. We celebrate the beginning of a new year and a life within the university. Reflecting on the 2023 year, and it's come and gone, and I can scarcely imagine it, a time today would not permit me to recount each and every event or milestone, but let me highlight some of the memorable items that relate to the state of SUNY New Paltz. We attained university status in the beginning of 2023, a true indicator of our academic rigor and institutional strengths. A year ago, I embarked on a series of listening and learning sessions across the SUNY New Paltz community, and I want to thank my transition ambassadors, AKA known as the search team for the president, for their guidance and feedback as I set up a very ambitious agenda. Let me also thank the first set of faculty and staff who attended that first listening session. You know who you are. There were 6 of you, and as I promised, I'm going to be calling on you this year because I want to hear from you, your personal reflections on what the year has been like. The listening tours were critical to anchoring my personal knowledge of the SUNY New Paltz community, and I achieved more than I could have imagined. Meeting in small and large groups and hearing from so many of the new long-serving and dedicated employees, these meetings reinforced a message I've repeated many times over this past year. Invest in the people that make this campus a community. I had a personal goal of meeting 1,000 people across our campus, and I'm confident that I achieved this goal. Coming into this presidency, this community stated very clearly, we want a president who will be present. I heard you and I still hear you, and I've worked diligently to make presence a priority. In official and formal meetings, informal gatherings, social events, athletic events, open house gatherings, meet and greets, community events, SUNY New Paltz has been present, and I have been very proud to be a part of this. I've met with our local, state, and national elected officials. We've discussed the significance of public 4-year comprehensive university presence in the Mid-Hudson Valley and aspirations for strengthening existing partnerships and collaborations and the creation of new ones that enhance the lives and quality of life of our communities now as well as into the future. Let me give 2 examples of things that were accomplished this year. They include the SUNY New Paltz School of Business being named as the Mid-Hudson Regional Innovation Hotspot. This was accompanied with a $1.25 million state grant over 5 years. Secondly, we have been engaging with SUNY Ulster Community College and the County Executive's Office to become a partner in the design and implementation of a workforce innovation initiative at the new iPark 87. Our talented team in the Development and Alumni Affairs Office have facilitated more than 50 on and off campus events this past year across the country and might I say the world, because I did do at least one international, to bring the vibrancy of the university center stage to old friends and new contacts, to revitalize the alumni who have waned in their connections with us, and to showcase the global talent and local brilliance in new ways. I might add with great pride, and under the leadership of Erica Marks, Shayla Mills, Erin Isabel, and many others, not only did SUNY New Paltz attain its largest single gift of $6.37 million from the IBIS Group for our Science of Reading Endowed professorship and a new micro-credential, Erica has also led the team in its growth of our endowment to more than $35 million. Erica, that's no minor feat. Thank you. The ways in which our institution attracts and retains students is not only part of our core mission, but it's also central to our financial stability. Our colleagues in the Division of Student Affairs and Enrollment Management, Stephanie and Stella, thank you so much, each year ensure that we recruit, enroll, retain, and graduate students who go on to do phenomenal things. This year, the Division of Student Affairs has totally revamped Welcome Week and Convocation. Yesterday, more than 1,000 new students started the process of becoming Hawks. As they moved into residence halls and met their new cohorts, I had the privilege of meeting several students and their families during the move-in activities, including the family sip and cry, a new activity that I think went over quite well with the parents. It was an official way to help them cut the tie. And it helped to loosen up because Stephanie made sure there was actually wine there for them to sip. So if you missed it this year, don't miss it next year. And I went, along with my family members, my Aunt Lois and her daughter Beverly are here visiting from Chicago, and they're putting up with me to come to this event today. We went and had, yes. We went to Peregrine Dining Hall yesterday to have dinner with the students who were having the barbecue indoors because of the rain. My goodness, if you haven't met this class, they are jazzed up and energized. You have to put on your running shoes and be prepared. Do take advantage of this. The enthusiasm and gratitude expressed for your welcoming and well-organized process was universally noted. Before these new students arrived and over the past 2 to 3 weeks, our returning student leaders and athletes came back to campus. These student leaders became, in many ways, our signature examples of what it means to be a SUNY New Paltz student. They strive for excellence in their learning, they search for meaning in their living, and act in ways that serve the greater good. Our institutional cornerstone is, of course, our academic offerings and exemplary teaching. This year, faculty and professional staff have demonstrated their skills, expertise, and adaptability as they addressed issues such as climate instability, environmental and social sustainability, critical inquiry, social political discourse, and, of course, ChatGPT AI. All of this in an effort to continue to offer excellence in teaching and learning and innovations in content applications. Our Academic Affairs Division congratulated and said farewell to Dr. Barbara Lyman for her 4 years service as interim provost, and we welcome Dr. William McClure as our new provost. We concluded the 2023 year with signature events of student commencement, recognition of honors, and of course, a few days of inaugural events. Overall, SUNY New Paltz had an exciting year with many commenting on the sense of community and engagement that was percolating. If we look to today and think about challenges, even with these existing accomplishments that are definitely exciting, the context of higher education remains at an inflection point. With growing demands on accountability, clarity on its relevance, ability to confront issues of social, racial, religious discords, demographic shifts, and challenging financial circumstances. SUNY New Paltz is certainly not immune to the full impact of these forces. Again, by way of examples, I want to speak to 3 of these challenging domains and their impacts at SUNY New Paltz. Enrollment. Earlier, I spoke about the excitement of new students arriving and their early engagements. Yes, we are pleased to welcome 1,195 new-to-college students and more than 700 transfer students this fall. This number is unfortunately 200 short of the goal we set at the start of the recruitment cycle, even though our applications were up by 4,000. To me, this represents a disconnect between what I have come to see and experience on campus and our ability to move students and their families from inquiry into the classroom. Our enrollment management team, led by Interim Vice President Stella Turk, is evaluating this situation closely to help formulate steps to turn this experience around. Early analysis from her work from the National Clearinghouse suggests that among the 2021-22 cohort of students we did not bring to SUNY New Paltz, but who were in our applicant pool, 87% of those students are persisting somewhere else a year later. This represents a missed opportunity. When we consider this, persisted in other institutions a year later, this suggests that we must look at our marketing, recruitment, and academic requirements that we set internally to see if we can reverse this disadvantaged experience. Many of you know firsthand we have an outstanding educational EOP program. This year, EOP welcomed 126 continuing EOP students. This impressive number is still 24 short of our institutional goal. As a result of this, we were required to prepare and submit a plan to SUNY on ways we will address this gap. I am confident that Antonio Bonilla and his entire team will guide us forward, even in a highly competitive recruitment field where students have many choices. This should remind us that even in premier programs like the SUNY New Paltz EOP program, we must always envision new ways of achieving our goals. The EOP leadership team has worked very hard to create a program that increases academic and student life success for our students. We are proud of the work that the EOP program does and is doing, and we know we can do more to support this program and the students and communities they represent. I'll go to example 2, budgetary constraints and accountability. I suppose it is important for me to embrace what many may be thinking as we watch across the country and right here in SUNY, the changing landscape and its impact on the fiscal well-being of colleges and universities and the mounting toll on these institutions' ability to remain intact. It would be wholly inappropriate and poorly informed for me to speculate on any other institution's financial situation. Rather, I want to reflect on a statement I made from this podium a year ago when I gave my welcoming address, when I said, we grapple with new ways of visioning our roles and value within an ecosystem that increasingly expects market valuation of the return on investment by students, parents, donors, and third-party partners. Today's academic landscape requires attention to all of these forces while keeping true to its primary mission of educating its students and advancing scholarship and creative and performing excellence. It is my responsibility, and I take this seriously, to share important information, not in a sanitized way, but as it is and how it impacts our institution. But always with an eye towards solutions enabling us to secure our position and to work together forward. Let me also say that today is not an in-depth financial review that will come later in the semester led by our VP for Administration and Facilities, Michelle Halstead. However, I do want to give you a summary of where we are. On our financial front, this year was a relatively familiar year to SUNY New Paltz as we examine the 5 past years of data. Our overall 2022 revenues were approximately $104 million, and our expenses approximately $112 million, leaving a gap of nearly $8 million. Through institutional savings, and so I want to caveat that. This is not new. This is a pattern. Pattern is important. Through institutional savings, many relating to unfilled staff lines, cost containment, and use of reserves, we were, as we have for the past several years, been able to meet all of our financial obligations and conclude the year whole. This pattern, as I noted, has been consistent for several years, even as the proportion of the budget that is state-funded has gone from 70% to approximately 25 to 28% over the past 75 years. Our tuition revenues presently account for about 47 to 48% of our current revenue, with residence halls providing another 21%. On our expense side, our single largest category is, of course, personnel services, pay and salary for employees, at 58%. As you can clearly hear, the financial model has shifted. One thing that is different this year we were notified by SUNY that in their review of our campus reserve fund, we are spending down at a rate that warrants close monitoring. We are not alone in this situation, and we will be working with SUNY to develop strategies that assist the institution in both monitoring and planning forward. I want to be clear. SUNY New Paltz is not, don't miss the word not, in a free fall. But this evaluation review does give us a wake-up call and an opportunity to design and deploy strategies that will move us into a strong financial position. That stated, we must develop plans that grow our financial strength and not just manage the deficit. We cannot cut our way into the future. We have to build our way into the future. My final example today relates to recruitment, retention, and professional development of faculty and staff. The Great Resignation, as it's been called, is impacting higher education as well as many other employment sectors. This area requires innovative ways of meeting institutional work needs and the needs of those we seek to recruit for pay. Professional development opportunities and work-life integration. So pay, professional development opportunities, and work-life integration are high among the demand needs of the market we're competing for employees. I don't have an immediate solution or fix to this problem, but I firmly believe that investment in the people is an investment we must make. Finding the right ways and the resources to do this must be part of our ongoing work together. It is not the president's job alone. It is not the faculty's job alone. It is not the staff's job alone. We have to do this work together. These 3 examples underscore the need for new approaches to integrated and strategic planning within higher education and here at SUNY New Paltz. We must make strides to align our data sources and systems so that we have timely and precise data that can be turned into informed critical decision pathways for planning and implementation. Looking to the future. Now I turn my discussion with you to the future, a future that builds on and respects our strong past, learning from our mistakes, addressing our challenges, setting a course that is based on who we say we are as a community and who we aspire to be as a community. In that regard, I go to the core of our institutional mission, and that is to provide an excellent education to our students that prepares them for lifelong learning and success, and equally so, our mission of being a value to the citizens of New York and beyond. These two pillars must be the backbone that guide our decisions in curriculum, services, finance, and critical infrastructure. The specific strategies on how to get there must be derived through processes of engagement and mutual respect for diversity in perspectives. But in the end, we must do what is best for the institution to deliver on its chartered promise. And I'll highlight a few of these again by example. Strategic planning. Our current strategic plan officially ran from 2013 to 2018. COVID and the presidential transition definitely impacted the development of a new plan. It is now time for this community to move ahead. To accomplish this, we will use the fall of 2023, present, to engage in pre-strategic planning initiatives, including reflections on the accomplishment of the 2013 to 18 plan, selecting a consultant, and engaging in pre-planning gatherings such as the Renaissance Concert of Ideas, which was held this week, and our organizational leadership session on September 6th, I know many of you have signed up for, which is being offered by one of our own alumni, Dr. Stuart Friedman, who is now at Wharton School of Business at UPenn. In the spring of 2024, we will start our formal development of a new plan with the goal of completing it in 6 months. 6 months. We need to do this. Time is of the essence. This is an aggressive timeline, yes, but you have already heard me speak to some of the challenges facing us. Context and timing demand that we do not wait until it's convenient or comfortable. Comprehensive campaign is another category of our direction this year. SUNY New Paltz Foundation is leading this charge and has already begun the work on setting campaign goals. They've engaged a consultant, and they're doing the necessary work to develop, necessary development work to increase the likelihood of success. Back to investing in our people. I just mentioned 2 examples with the Renaissance Center and Dr. Friedman. We will continue to look for ways to bring to all of our employees resources that help them to develop and evaluate and sustain a healthy and strong educational institution in the 21st century. I consider investments in this area essential to our survival. I liken it to building a house and the necessity for having good plumbing and electricity when you build the house and not just a lovely facade. Otherwise, that beautiful house is a shell and may become uninhabitable relatively quickly. We must engage in strategic enrollment management. As noted in my prior example, we have challenges, as all colleges and universities do, and we must review our current practices with an eye towards changing things that are not working for us and to adapt alternative ways of engaging students, their families, and their communities. Our Division of Enrollment Management has already provided me with a strategic overview plan that goes to the year 2026 and has metrics that could substantially enhance our recruitment and our enrollment pipelines and significantly improve our tuition revenue. Just so that you know this is not magical thinking, we did some rough calculations. Had we met the 200 goal, we would have made a significant dent in our gap. Were we to bring in 600 students, graduate, undergrad, transfer, online, any combination, we would be at a balanced budget. Were we to bring in 1,200 students over a period, and this institution has been at 8,000 students before, were we to bring in 8,000 students, we would run an annual surplus somewhere between $2 and $4 million a year. It is not impossible for us to get there, but we have to think strategically and differently about how to get there. Creating success in non-tuition revenues is another essential area for us. This includes philanthropic and donor support, but it will also demand that we engage assertively in securing sponsored research, training, and service awards. Diversifying our non-tuition-based revenues will be part of an institution-wide initiative that will not detract from our core work in liberal arts and sciences, but actually build synergies between and among them. Academic programs, it will certainly be on the forefront of things that we have to invest in and pay attention to in the coming year. With new and innovative thinking in our Division of Academic Affairs, I've asked the provost and his team to begin a process of assessing opportunities for new programming and ways of attracting strong faculty and staff committed to the mission of SUNY New Paltz. Toward this end, I and the provost have reviewed the requests for faculty hires coming from the dean. This year, I'm pleased to say we're planning to approve approximately 70% of those requested searches. Not only are we planning to approve those searches, but the provost, in less than the 2 months that he's been here, has already designed a plan that doing that 70% draws on current resources so that these hires will actually near net zero impact on the budget, but will have the potential for reshaping the ability to engage diverse and talented, active, service-minded teaching scholars. In the area of planning, assessment, and institutional research, I know that at this point in a long-winded presentation, you really want to hear about middle states and reaffirmation. Maybe you don't want to hear about it, but it is coming. And in some ways, it's already here with our mid-cycle review and next self-study occurring in the next 2 to 3 years. That's not far into the future. If you haven't been a part of Middle States, ask somebody who was, and they'll probably want you to give them some kind of adult beverage to help you get that information. In our last Middle States review, it was specifically noted that SUNY New Paltz would benefit from clear and consistent application of assessment measures anchored to clear goals that are used to guide planning and implementation across the institution. This is another opportunity to use a call to action to expedite our attention to a growing area in higher education, namely articulation of value and impact based on strong data analytics. We will, in the next several months, engage our community to implement steps to meet this goal. Related to this, I must also mention that in a year in which SUNY received a sizable increase in state funding, meaning the state, has also, SUNY has been required by the state to prepare a long-term plan to address the impact of fluctuations in student enrollment as they have on the academic and financial sustainability of state-operated institutions and community colleges. These plans must be submitted by SUNY no later than January 1, 2024. And each SUNY campus will be required to prepare and submit its plan ahead of that deadline. Our plans must include baseline data on current strengths and trajectory, accelerating excellence through operational enhancements, and opportunities for growth in the areas of student success, research and scholarship, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and economic development and upward mobility. As you can see, these areas align very well with the strategic initiatives I've already outlined. We're in a good position to do it and to demonstrate our value and significance, not only to SUNY, but to the world. Facilities and infrastructure, we will continue to work with the SUNY Construction Fund on projects that have already been started and for those that have been prioritized in recent cycles. Earlier this week, our Vice President for Administration and Finance, Michelle, confirmed that work on Shango College Hall will continue and that SUNY New Paltz Working Group is actively engaged in reviewing plans for this major project. In the area of marketing, communications, and government relations, under the leadership of our VP for Communications and Marketing, Shelley Wright, and her co-anchor there, Richard Winters, we are working to enhance our capacity to identify and reach new student pipeline markets and to strengthen our position with social media channels to stand out as potential students search for colleges and universities in undergraduate and graduate markets. This is not by any means an exhaustive list of the great works and opportunities ahead. It represents some of our pressing priorities aimed at bringing us into better alignment with our aspirations and potential for continued growth and excellence. Let me remind myself maybe, but say to you, we live in times of continued local, national, and world attention and engagement on a number of environmental, political, and social issues, including immigration, race, anti-Semitism, gender-based violence, mass violence, economic uncertainty, climate change, environmental sustainability, free speech, hate speech, threats of emotional, mental, and physical violence, diversity, equity, justice, and inclusion. And this is not, of course, an exhaustive list either. We know these issues impact the lives of students, faculty, and staff throughout our campus community, even as we stay focused on our core educational mission. We must affirm and commit to honest discussion and decisive actions both in and out of the classroom. This commitment is truly manifest in the liberal arts education that centers our academic mission. The power of a broad and inclusive transformative education cannot be underestimated. Today, as much as ever, we must double down on the essentiality of engaging to strengthen, not lessen, the SUNY New Paltz commitment in these core areas and demonstrate its access for all citizens of New York and beyond. I thank you for listening to me, and I look forward to engaging you in what is going to be one heck of an exciting year. Thank you.